Let's talk a little bit more about bowling. Would you mind sharing kind of your bowling origin story, how you first started getting into bowling? I know you bowled for Team England, I believe, and then Wichita State's going to kind of tell us that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Started with my family back in England. I'm from Southampton, which is I know you had Verity on the podcast recently, about 20 minutes away from where she was.
Okay.
We've known each other since 6 years old.
Wow.
And so a bowling alley opened up before I was born. And my dad started the youth program. He's like, I want to create a youth program for my older brother at the time, and created a small club. And we would bowl every Saturday. And so it started pretty much like most people as a youth program on a weekend. And I did that from 4 years old. I would roll a 6-pound ball down the lane and weekly do that. And bowling's not a big sport. We know that. And so it competed with every other thing, and especially in England is football or soccer. And I would play that pretty religiously too. And then I had some changes in my life where I basically had to get involved in all sorts of sport programs, after school programs. My dad was at work and I didn't have a mother, unfortunately. So I really relied on extracurricular activity, and I really dived into all sorts of sports and activities, and did that from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. when my dad got home. And then when he got home, we'd probably go bowling. So I was very active all the time, doing lots of stuff. For bowling, I was in that club and I was pretty successful there. There were county teams, pretty much like a state team.
Okay.
And I would make, the state team, and we would play against other states or county teams. And then you basically work your way up to south of England, then to Team England and trials. And we got familiar with a lot of the local bowlers, and Verity being one of them. But I've got, the whole team of England youth bowlers. We ended up getting good enough that we would try international tournaments. And we would, first off, I think the first one I tried was Ireland, the Irish Open. And it was so fun. It was traveling with people, staying in hotels, as a youth, a teenager, that's that freedom and that experience is unbeatable. And it gives you so much growth opportunity, so much fun and play. And so we just love these opportunities. I think I went out to the Irish Open 8 years in a row. We did it. But that opened the door to, what other countries are there? And so then we went down to France, and we went down to Belgium and Holland. And I think we went to Germany, and we did what was called the Youth European Tour. And I had good success there too. I ended up making it to the finals, and I think I came third in 2008, 2009 sort of time frame, where as an 18-year-old now getting ready to in England, what am I going to do? You finish school at 16 when I was in school. Then I went to basically like a JUCO, we call it a college. And then at 18, you choose university or work. And during the European tour, the youth tour, I was told about America's universities and the bowling programs, and Wichita State being iconic in the number of national titles they've had, the bowlers that have gone through that. And then there's Weber and that program with Kegel. And we went out to Kegel. We went and saw it. We traveled there and met the coaches, and it's phenomenal what they do and how they're pioneer in the sport. But for some reason, I thought Wichita State was it for me, and I didn't even go visit. I just enrolled, and I flew out there. And what a roller coaster it was to go out there, never with no parents. I just got a flight on my own. Wow. and started this journey in 2010. And man, tears along the way, joy, new friendships. You're the only person there. I tried out, and I made the second team. I didn't make the varsity men's team. I mean, that year we had a really cool team, a really elite level team, and it goes up and down. How good the team is right now. Right now, it's phenomenal. The men's team right now has got so many good bowlers on it. I'm lucky to be still part of it. But I got developmental team. I got the second team, and was I going to give up, or was I going to take that experience? I had interaction with the coaches, and I pushed and I persevered and I tried out again, and I made the select team. I made the varsity team on my junior year, and that experience really changed me a lot. Just how much psychology they put into it. You know, they bring in Dr. Dean Hinitz from, I think he's out in California, Berkeley or something. What that taught you. Coach Vatican, I was under Coach Vatican's since retired, but I was under him, and his thing is mental game, psychology, understanding, and you know the books that we got to read really they're almost philosophy. You know, they're ways of thinking and how that can help you in life, not just bowling. And I really took to that, and I invested that in all things I do. I started to study harder. I try to do that as best I could. I try to bowl as best I could. I try to work out as best I could. And I really, really dove deep into that process. And it was pretty successful for me. I started shooting more 300s. I was traveling to different tournaments. And in school, I graduated with an exercise science degree, which makes sense, right? I was interested. I got an exercise science degree. And at that point, I'm at the end of my 4 years. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go home and restart my life again. And it's very difficult to come out to a new country and start your life. You know no one. And, I don't even know where, the tax office is if I go back home. And it's just, I've not been an adult in England. I've been an adult in America. Okay. And so it's just different. I didn't want to go back again. As much as I love to travel and I miss it so much. My adult life is here. And I was like, okay, well, how am I going to stay? I was offered a GA-ship and get my master's. Okay. And so I got my master's in exercise physiology, and I started, again, studying and trying hard at that. And through that, I was, again, pretty successful. I got a number of certifications. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm a nutrition specialist, United States weightlifting. I mean, there's probably 8 different certifications I've achieved. But with the master's, they gave me an opportunity to teach. And I think that's pivotal in my knowledge kind of gap between other people is until you teach it, you don't really know it. I've taught now for 8 years, and the questions that get thrown at me daily, the information that I have to regurgitate one chapter at a time for years, it's not something you just study for. You've learned it, you take the tests, and then it dwindles away. Right. Like I see this information over and over and over again, and it's allowed me to use it in common day language. I didn't know we were going to talk about nutrition, and I can throw in some of that stuff quite easily because it's so fresh with me, and I love that about the opportunity I had, and I'm never going to let that go because it keeps me at my A game. It keeps me on top of it. So I started with nutrition, I think in 2015. So I've been teaching that 8 years. This year, 16 semesters, seen hundreds of students. We have a class of 50. And then because I was successful there, they gave me strength and conditioning too. And so I have that certification. I can teach that class. And that's been going for maybe 6 years, 5 or 6 years that I've been doing that. And it's more practical based. And so we're moving and we're teaching people why we're doing this and what we're not. And then because of that experience, I was coaching. Well, with that, I was coaching the Wichita State bowling team and trying to incorporate my knowledge from textbook and classroom to practical application. And with my background of being a bowler at a high level, hosting medals at international tournaments, it was a good fit. And I've been part of the Shocker bowling camps. I've been responsible for their training since 2015, and we've kind of developed it and refined it, and it's a really cool program now. And I've got a really good knowledge base and credibility to be able to talk to it and help future generations. And I'm really excited about what the future holds with this because we make a difference. We really do make a difference in people's lives, and whether it's bowling or other sports, teaching, it's a cool place to be.
That's awesome. So with the teaching and the training, what part does bowling have in your life right now for you personally? Are you still able to bowl as much as you like, and is it more league based right now? Is it tournament based?
Yeah, I got league tonight. I'll still be bowling. I try to do it twice a week. I do league on Tuesdays. I'll go to the Wichita State University's bowling alley on Thursdays and practice with them and interact with them. So I'm not just a teacher. I'm still in it. I'm still doing the same things they are. So they realize it doesn't change. I think that's a key part, as I say that pops up in my mind, is when we create goals, we always seem to have these like end goals. Like, I want to win nationals, which is a fantastic goal to have. But I think once you're out of school, you can't have that goal anymore. And so I think process goals, these shorter term goals, are way better things to understand and to create. Is like, just show up every day. That could be a goal, right? To continue practicing. I think, and when they see me as a 30-year-old doing that, it gives them a different perspective. Again, it's like, all right, it never stops. Life doesn't stop.
Right.
You've got to, if it's not, studying for your college degree, you're studying for, your job, or you're trying to worry about your finances. And like, there's always stress in your life, and it will never go away. It's how can you deal with that stress best. And so just me practicing, I think interacting with them, it helps enable that. It was kind of a side note there, but league on Tuesdays, practice on Thursdays, and the occasional tournaments. I probably do 5 a year right now. I'd like to get back into it when I'm training like Frankie, and he's telling me we train for a few weeks, and then he's off on tour, and he's in Q8 right now. We still correspond, and I miss it. But it's balancing life. I've got responsibilities as a husband and a house owner and doing those. So I think I'm never out of the game, out of sport, but we'll get back to it. And I'm not too far off of elite level, so it won't be as hard getting back because I didn't let it go.
Would you mind sharing your favorite bowling memory and your worst bowling memory?
It's hard. I have a lot of good memories bowling. For some reason, my mind wants to go back to that European tour, maybe just because I was talking about it just now, but the fun I had with that team, the youth that are part of that group that traveled, the whole experience you get through that is amazing. Seeing the other cultures, meeting the other athletes that I'm still friends with now. I'll chat to some of the Dutch people, some of the French guys that we met through those events. I've got T-shirts in my closet that are other nation T-shirts that, they're just memorabilia at this point. But I held the flag. We went to the World Youth Games in Holland, and we went to one in Vienna, which actually I met Diana and Verity in Vienna, Austria. But through that, we walk out onto the track, and you're kind of like the Olympics, and you hold your flag. And I held the flag, and I walked out, and I think that may be the best memory I have of doing the pride, the freedom, no stress. We're completely embraced in this experience. That's one of my fondest memories in the game, I would imagine. When it goes to the worst memory, try not to remember them.
And I even debated on whether or not to even ask the worst question, but at the same time, I was just curious as to what you might come up with.
I'm sure there's some times that I've missed, a single 10-pin that cost me something. That wouldn't be fun. Nothing pops up in my mind of a bad memory. So maybe that's a good thing.
That's good.
Did
you forget those? That's
but yeah,
probably for the best.
Yeah, try to forget them. Yeah, no, then they don't fester and come up again if that situation arises. You don't want to repeat your actions, sort of thing. So, I don't remember too much of a bad one.
So, do you have any hobbies or anything like that you love to do, kind of to disconnect from the bowling world and the fitness world?
Yeah. With time, I find I try to be outdoors. I'm very much an outdoorsman. You just taking care of my home, just on the weekend, just cutting down a tree or try to, do something. It has to be active for me. I don't have any enjoyment or too much enjoyment from sitting down, watching movies or, I do them. I'm human, but, I much prefer to be outdoors, fresh air, whether that's hiking, playing golf, even if it's manual labor, I really don't mind it. I just want to be moving. Right. I think that's where I have most joy. Is my mind is quite rapid in its functioning. And I think when I do physical activity, I can come out of my mind and I'm more in my body, and that's calming for me. So often, 10 o'clock at night, I'll be out in the backyard shooting basketballs, just to not to be good, not to practice, just to physically move and not think about things. And that's my stress relief. And everyone needs to find a way that they can do that same thing. And it's different for everyone.
Who or what has been your greatest teacher?
I've definitely had some really influential people in my life. I think my dad is a big one. He's a bowler himself. Actually, my brother and my dad are both on Team England, adult and senior Team England. So I still get to interact with them as a coach now for Team England. I'm helping with that. My dad definitely was influential. He put a work ethic in me that most people don't get as a child. It's a bit because of our circumstances, but he definitely influenced me largely in a positive way. I think Coach Vatican really influenced me, and what he taught me and how to think about things really influenced me. But I think in general, I think I learned the most for myself, and the experiences of life. Being immersed in these different experiences taught me so much. It taught me how to interact with people, come into a different culture. Although England and America aren't that different, there are many different, cultural differences, and getting used to how people react just with an accent, or go into a country on your own. And when I arrived, they lost my bags. I literally had nothing here, and I was in tears, and like getting over that, and knowing that I'm alive. No matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay, as long as you're alive. So I think life itself, the experiences, and me not being afraid of stepping out and doing something that's most people might seem is extreme. I'll give it a go. I'm renowned for that. I will give it a go. Pretty much anything. And I think why I love to do that is because I benefit from it. I learn from it. And whether it's like I don't want to do that again, or I do want to do that again, I think it makes me a better person. And I'm always trying to be better. And I think I've got a long way to go. I'm not quite there yet in terms of where I want to be. But yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at and where I'm going. So just keep doing it.
Do you have a favorite cheat food?
Ooh, my wife tries to make me eat cheat foods. It's not that I don't. I think right now I have a big craving. I eat a lot of fruit snacks.
Okay.
They're like 30 grams of carbs. You buy them at Walmart or Dillon's or whatever, Kroger. They're like 8 to 10 little gummies, and I demolish those. I put them in the fridge. I like texture. I like them to be a little bit harder and chewier than the soft sugar. I don't necessarily like that. I don't really eat cake. Birthday parties, whatever it is. My wife is very different to me. She's a country girl. We're in Kansas here. She is used to having cookie dough and ready to eat cookies, and she has cake, and she'll cook brownies and muffins, and I won't touch them. I just don't ever even crave it. And so cheap foods, I think the fruit gums, any gum type thing, I'm more impartial to. But I'm not super strict on my diet at the same time. It's just I just don't crave the sugary stuff. I eat a lot of bread. I think some people restrict bread. Or I love bread as long as we home make it, because I think American bread is a little less quality than what I like in England. And
have you ever tried Dave's Killer Bread?
I do. I like Dave's Killer Bread. Yeah, we get that from Costco.
Okay.
A little more seed, grain, protein sources.
Right.
It's definitely tougher to eat, right? And so I think I like those textures. But recently we've been on a homemade bread kick. I bought my wife a bread maker, and she's been doing well with that. I would say those fruit gums got to be my main thing.
Okay.
That's what I eat right
cool. Last question. Is there a question that you wish your bowling students would ask you, or people that you train, you wish they would ask this question and they don't?
That's a hard question to think about. I'm not sure. I'm kind of a pretty open book, so if they're not asking me the question that I want them to ask them, I'll spell it out. I just start telling them, Like, you don't have a choice. You're hearing this.
Right.
If I think it's good for them, I'm probably going to say it. And maybe there's an arrogance to that, but it's done me okay so far. I think one thing that I wish they asked me, I'm not sure I have an answer to. Like I mentioned, if I have a piece of positive information that I think is going to benefit my athletes, my clients, and most of the time I'm just going to say it to them, and they have to just hear it, basically. Because I have the best interest in mind with them. I'm trying to help them elevate and evolve into who they're going to be, especially as adults. And I'm working with college age athletes and students all the time, so they're learning, they're adapting, and they're growing into the future humans they're going to be. And so I'm trying to just mold that in the most positive way possible. And I think I'm getting better at that. Some people may say that I was a terrible teacher years ago, and hopefully that they'll understand that, when you start at a job, you're not always as good as you would be a decade later. So I'm working on myself, and I'll try to always help others be as good as they possibly can be. And the one thing I do repeatedly tell people is that stress is inevitable. Life is always going to be hard, and it's your resilience to that makes life easy. It's just get good at trying hard, and then you'll always be trying hard and things get easier. So I think that's the big take home that I have. And I circle back to how that plays a role in my everyday is we tried hard in the weight room. We tried hard on the courts or on the bowling lanes or whatever it is I'm working with athletes on. We get them to try hard, and it teaches them how to do that. And they get better at it, and things get easier in life because they're used to just putting in more effort. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I can give them, more than a bigger muscle or a more stable knee. It's grit, resilience, determination, and being the best person they possibly can be.
Well, Andy, this has been great. I have learned a tremendous amount, and I want to go grab my weights and lift right now. So thanks for the inspiration.
I see those triceps. I see them.
I used to weight train a lot more, and I even you mentioned about having like being in discomfort like that. I was stuck for a long time at like 180, and I wanted to be 200. I just wanted to know what that felt like and to have that muscle size. And I never actually got there, but I got close. But I had a trainer set up a program for me, and I was having to eat 3,500 or 4,000 calories a day because my body just doesn't, like, I don't hold weight, and which is a blessing. I'm thankful for my metabolism and body type, but yeah, I had to force myself to be something else to get there. But now that I've gotten in I just turned 40 a couple of years ago, and so I'm now kind of starting to transition a little bit, still lifting weights, but doing more cardio and stretching and stuff, and seeing the value in that.
Yeah. I think we all evolve at different rates, and I would look at you and say you're probably more of an ectomorph body type, which is the tall, skinny. Now I'm actually the same, and it's taking. If I was to stop training, I train 5 days a week. If I was to stop, I would get smaller. My body type is like a marathon runner. I'm an endurance athlete,
right? And
it's taken everything I have to get more muscle and gain size, and it doesn't happen easy for me. I have to push hard. And I think, as you mentioned, you're the same way. You just gotta, you get dealt what you get dealt, and you do the best you can with that.
Right.
You can't control who your parents are. You can't control, the way your body responds to it. So you just do what you have to do.
Well, thanks again. How can people find you and be a part of Amplify?
I think social media is probably the best way. I update that more often than my website. I'm not the best website designer. I have one, amplifymytraining.com.
Okay.
But follow on social media. It's a lot easier for me to get information out to that, which is at amplifymytraining. If not, you can email me, Andy at amplifymytraining.com. And yeah, we'll get a hold of each other there. And feel free to reach out. Anyone that does listen to this, does find value in anything that I've mentioned. We're growing. If you haven't heard of me yet, we hope that in the next couple of years you will. And it's going to be a pleasure to continue helping the sport of bowling elevate. So
very
excited for it.
I'm gonna add to my bucket list of things to travel up there and get a get a personal one-on-one session.
Where are you located?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay. Yeah. Fly out. It's a long drive. Fly out. Come see me. I know, Verity did recently, and she had a great experience with that. And I do work with a number of different professionals that do come, and I'm blessed to be in Wichita. It's like the mecca of bowling, and
yeah.
I've got so many great bowlers that I'm working with all the time. So, plenty of testimonies to show you that I know what I'm talking about.
Right. So. That's right. Well, thanks again, Andy. I really, really appreciate all your time and sharing all your information with us.
No, thank you so much for inviting me on. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you the best. I appreciate you doing this for the sport.
Absolutely. Absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for watching. Please share this episode with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time on The Bowler's Mind.